Day 2. I am tired. I woke up very tired, very sore this morning. Definitely ready to tackle the day, but understanding that I feel a lot weaker today than I felt yesterday. With that said though, we're here, we're back at the U-Haul, Day 2, ready to kind of finish tackling this. There is a very, very small part of me that thinks I may end up renting the U-Haul one more day, so I'm not so rushed today. And the main reason for that is because I actually have a show scheduled tonight on Whatnot, and I decided I'm going to start selling some of this stuff. I think that it would be really smart for me to just go ahead and start recouping my money back, right? So what I want to do real quick is actually take you guys inside and show you where I've been putting some of the books. Like, if you look around, there's not that many books out here in the truck, right? There's a few, and there's a little under the table here, but what have I done with everything? So I'm going to take you guys inside real quick. I'm going to show you kind of what I've been doing with the books, where I've been putting them. All right, if you guys remember correctly, I said that there are a few different places that I'm going to be selling these books. So we have Whatnot, we have eBay, we have Sell Back Your Book, Second and Charles, and then, like I said, I think I might be doing like a yard sale type thing. We'll see. Not 100% sure. So I'm going to show you where I'm putting books that qualify for all of those things. So first up right here, actually, these are our crunchy books. If you're still not familiar with what a crunchy book is, it is a book that has water damage, staining, excessive rips, wears, tears, or bending. There is something wrong enough with the book that it is just not going to qualify for going into my inventory. So for example, Percy Jackson, kind of at first glance doesn't look terrible, but when we start to look a little closer, this is not a type of book that I would typically put on my shelf. When someone comes into my store, I want them to know that when they are requesting a book, it is in good condition, not something that needs a disclaimer. So this is going to be a crunchy book show. These will be books that'll start at $1. We'll do all auctions. I love those shows. Super excited about that. Next up, we've got records here, right? We came across some records, and I know that there are a ton more records in that Gaylord that I'm about to go through. So very interesting to go through those, kind of see what we've got. And then we have eBay. So all of this is eBay. All of this is stuff that I think needs to be looked up. I can tell by looking at it. It's just something unique enough that I want to take a look at, or I'm familiar with it. Like this Will Durant book, I know sells well. We've got some things up here, foreign language type stuff, some box sets, just really unique stuff. And then that little series. And then come on into the chaos. Yes, it is chaotic in here again. It's not terrible. It looks so much worse than it is, I promise. But this is always all of my new inventory. Plus I have like some stuff over there for new inventory. And this is just all old inventory. And then these are witchy stuff. It's a whole thing. I promise there's method to my madness. So it's going to look kind of crazy, but I'm going to zoom back in so you guys can really focus on what it is I'm trying to show you here. So what we're focused on is not this top shelf, but everything from there down. Okay. So this shelf is double stacked. There's books behind those books. Same thing here. You can see there's books behind those books, books behind those books. Same thing here. And then I've got some non-chapter books down there. So far, all of that is all the stuff that I've pulled, as well as these 2 bags. So these are all the things that I know I want to sell in a Whatnot show. So that's kind of how I'm having it organized. So I need to go ahead and empty these so I can get these bags back into my rotation over here. And that's what I've done. That's what I've brought them in. I put those there, eBay stuff here, and it doesn't feel like that much. I'm like looking at it and I'm like, gosh, I feel like it's so much more. But if I'm being honest, I also had to donate and trash a lot of stuff. There were books that were just completely demolished. There was random trash pieces, like loose pieces of paper and stuff like that. And then there were books that can have a second life, right? So I got rid of a lot. I would say after the first 3.5 Gaylords, I would say we've done almost about a half a Gaylord of just completely gone from my store. There's no way for me to squeeze pennies out of it. Well, I take that back. There's ways for me to squeeze pennies out of it, but we're not squeezing pennies out of these books. I'm trying to make the most of my time. I'm not going to sit here and try to take every single book and make money off of it. You have to cut your losses on some stuff. You have to pick and choose. You have to be mindful of really how much is the investment for your time going to reap from this venture when you're trying to take little kind of good books, but not really good books, and squeeze pennies out of them. That's really what I would be trying to do. So not going to be doing that. I'm focused on the stuff I know that works, the stuff that I've built a consistent like knowledge base of over the last few years, and I know strategically has worked out for me. This is a time for me to maybe experiment a little bit. There's definitely some leeway room from experimenting. I'm going to be doing a mass market show. I'm obviously doing the Crunchy Book show, which I have done once before and was great. So that's not really an experiment, but I'm also going to list those like nonfiction, non-jacketed books because I don't really want to just redonate those. I think I can make a good bit of money off of those if I list those on Facebook as like a garage sale, book sale, come shop kind of thing. I'm going to do a full price breakdown. I bought a U-Haul. I paid Justin for his help. I bought us lunch and dinner, just gas, driving there, you know, just like all the stuff you need to take into consideration. And then the time, like taking 2, maybe 3 whole days to dedicate to this. That's a lot of time and energy, right? We're going to go through the cost breakdown and all of that. I want to talk about roughly maybe like how many books that I got and all that good stuff. And then more importantly, I'm doing a show tonight on Whatnot. So I really want to talk to you guys about that. I'm excited. It's going to be fun. I've got a lot of really good stuff. I am going to basically go ahead and head back into the trailer, into the U-Haul, and start working my way through that other half of a Gaylord and see what else we find. Real quick, I wanted to jump in and let you all know that I do not have microphones. It is my fault. I completely forgot to grab them. It is going to be a little loud. My office is right here on a street, so I apologize in advance if the audio is not wonderful. Hopefully you guys are more than happy to stick around just for the visual journey because I think there's just going to be a lot of fun stuff to see here. All right, I emptied out both of the blue bags. I was able to actually clear off a whole nother bookshelf in there. So I'm really excited with being able to put to use those bookshelves that I've spent a lot of money on and don't really use in that store anymore, right? So very cool. Get on in here and find a good spot. Basically be digging through this Gaylord here. Okay. Oh, so daunting. Like, I didn't do any of this yesterday. I didn't dig at all. Justin dug almost 100%. So, I don't like digging like this. Like, I'm the type of person, I'm ready to already jump in. So, I probably will. Sometimes, you just gotta get in. And this is how sturdy these books are. But I like to get in and kind of crouch down and just, oh look, there's a DVD. Just start pulling stuff. Trash and all. And I'm just going to toss it and I'll just dig from the floor. I think that's going to be smarter. See how loud this is. Oh. So I'm basically going to make a Gaylord below me of just books to sort through, which is not fun, but there's no way I'm going to be able to effectively get these out without doing it this way. Oh gosh, we got a ton of the like kids left behind. These, if you can lock these all up, they actually do pretty well. It may seem like I'm being really aggressive, but I'm not doing anything crazier than what's already happened to these books. Oh, we found the other book. We were looking, we found the other 2 books, so here's the other one. Okay. So while that does not look appetizing, it is better than doing it slowly. Gotta go quick. So if I have to sacrifice my sanity and making the floor look like this every now and again in order for it to go faster, that's just gonna have to be the way I do it. So let's go ahead and sit down and go through everything I just threw out of here. Oh my Lord, that took 10 minutes. That was 10 minutes to just go through that little bit. Now, granted, I was setting up processes, right? So the second batch should be faster. I did fill up a box. This is gonna be yard sale. This is keep left behind. I've got bookmarks, crafting books, eBay. I looked over and there was like 7 more books over here. It's like when they touch the ground, they get blended in. It's okay. So that took closer to, I'm gonna say 12 minutes to do, but I kept my little setup here of like how I want everything to go, and I got a new box. So I'm gonna see if I can do kind of the same bit of throwing books out and do it in less than 12 minutes, which means I could get through the rest of this within the hour. That little corner blends in, but that only took me 9 minutes to take the books out and sort through them. So that's really good. That was me like having, I feel like, a lot more of an idea of what I was doing. And I filled up another box though. So that's the only bad thing, is I am filling up a lot of donate boxes. So that's kind of not great. But 9 minutes for all of that, so let's do it again. I'm getting faster. That only took me 8 minutes. All right, and look, there's a lot less in there than I thought. So I am at the bottom, which means I'm gonna go ahead and pull all of this out and go through it, and I'll be done. I'll be done with this one. That was so much faster than I thought. Ah, that's so exciting. When I have it empty, I don't know how I'm gonna get out. We'll see. A lot of trash at the bottom. Okay. Now let's see if I can get out. I have nothing to step on. I feel trapped. My leg's not long enough. Just gonna give myself something to stand on, and I'll just pull those out afterwards. There we go. It is, minus those books I just put in there, empty. I'll check back in with you guys when I'm done finishing up this. Okay, so just made it through the third Gaylord, and I just came up with the most brilliant idea that I don't know how I didn't think about before. I'm gonna leave that third Gaylord empty in there, and when I'm going through the last 2 and I'm coming across all my duds, I'm just gonna toss them in the Gaylord. And then what I'll do is I'll see if there's any sort of credit program, or maybe if I bring them back a Gaylord full of books or half full of books, they would be willing to maybe like recredit me, like give me back some money. If not, I don't care, but I don't think I need to keep hauling these to donate into trash when I can just throw them in there. And I've done enough donating in trash. So the last 2 are just gonna be given back to them, because that just makes more sense. And I really don't need to even pull this Gaylord out now. So I'm gonna leave it there and fill it up as I go, and save me probably a lot of time. I should technically be able to get through both of these within the next 3 hours. So that's gonna be my goal. We'll continue with the organization process, and I think throwing the duds back into the Gaylord is gonna be a game changer on time. So super excited about that. These are the things we learn along the way. Like, I wouldn't have thought of that until I'm too busy like hauling everything away from this freaking trailer, and I'm thinking, is there an easier way to do this? Yeah, how about I just throw them back in there? Duh. So happy I thought of that. Let's go ahead and get started on these last 2. These were trash books. So I'm gonna make this my new steps. I gotta get those ones I put in there out. Let's go ahead and get this out of here. I want it all the way out, and I need it out of my way. All right, so I'm gonna start some piles here behind me. Right away. Just I know that I'd seen this little Colleen Hoover It's gonna be a crunchy. It's got damage, unfortunately, but take it, it's fine. Definitely very dusty on the top layer. They sit for a little while. Like, again, you guys are wondering what I'm discarding. It's this just uber damaged stuff that is not worth keeping. Oh, these are cool. Look at these vintage Star Wars. In this one, like mixed media. Like, this is like a brand new game of Trouble. This is like a Melissa and Doug magnetic game, which looks like it might have all the pieces. You guys, the more I'm thinking about those books that I think would go well like in a yard sale, the more I don't want to do that. I don't know if that's worth my time. And so as I'm going through these last 2 book bins, I'm probably going to find books that would qualify for that. And I just don't know if it's worth my time. So I'm going to be thinking about that as I'm going through this. And there's a really good chance that those are going to find their way into this bin. Little Finding Perfect, Colleen Hoover. Polka dot. Actually in pretty good shape. A lot of times these are very damaged. A lot of Colleen Hoover in this one. A lot of them are damaged, but that's okay. Alright guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and keep working my way through here. I am going to go ahead and call it with the video recording. I know it's probably going to get monotonous. See how quick I can go through this 5th Gaylord here. I will keep you guys updated. Got a good little top layer chunk done. This is so far the discards, and I wanted to show you some of the types of books I'm keeping. I know a lot of you guys ask me, like, how do you know what books to keep? Again, a lot of it is just from doing this for a long time, but I just wanted to kind of show you a little gist of some of the stuff that I'm auto pulling, right? And then I do have some kids stuff back here, some different kids books as well. So pretty good little first haul. Oh, also these. I found the entire Housemaid series by Frida, some more Coho. They are all going to be in the crunchy selection, but those are going to be really good draws for when I do the $1 show. Crunchy selection, people getting a chance to win a Housemaid book or series for $1 to $3 is going to be a draw. All right. I'm going to go ahead and keep going through here. I'm going to check back in with you guys. Alrighty, this is what we're working with. We are almost to the bottom. It is a lot of discarding. It kind of doesn't, I don't know if it looks as full as it is, but it is very full. I have, you know, still some good finds. Got some pretty good things over here. Nothing super awesome, Nicholas Sparks, things like that, but It's okay. This is probably not one of the better ones, but I will say I just saw this Harry Potter set. So I was like, oh, let me grab this cord, see what it looks like. And as I figured, it's pretty damaged, but I think I'll still be able to sell it as like a damaged Harry Potter set. So it's not terrible, but that's where we're at. I'm almost done. I'm almost done. This was probably one of the least fun Gaylords. I had some great stuff at the top, and the bottom was just like, eh. And if you buy Gaylords or you've bought Gaylords, you may know that's kind of like the thing. They're really good at the top and the middle, and the bottoms tend to be really crappy. I've only had a couple that have been like good at the bottom in my history of Gaylords, but yeah. So it's fine. It is what it is. I'm gonna keep digging. Last little stack I pulled. It is very okay. I did pull a lot out to scan, and I actually pulled out some good textbooks over here. So fingers crossed those have some value. But it is empty. Got to the bottom of it, and that wasn't too bad. So we have one more left. It's another kind of smaller one. So I'm really hoping that this one is a little bit better than this one. This one was very okay. All of that was just from this one. So imagine pretty much half or not more of this Gaylord alone was just books that I don't have necessarily any value in. It may look like there's some things, like you might see like that series of unfortunate events. It has some wear that's not going to go into my store. Whew. I'm hot. It is a lot warmer today than it was yesterday. I'm not having any regrets. It's exactly what I kind of thought it was going to be workload wise. So I'm happy with that. It doesn't feel like more or less work. It feels pretty exactly to what I kind of estimated it to feel like. So that feels kind of good. I will say one of the things, I feel like I might have said this before, but I'm going to say it again. Organization. Like having a dedicated space that you are putting everything that falls into all the different categories is key. Because now, I have all this walk space here. I've got all the walk space there. I'm periodically taking books inside and putting them on the shelves. I'm just like keeping up with like as organized as I can. So that's definitely something I would suggest for sure. It's a big old box here. Let's see what this big box is. I'm liking, as you can tell, there's a lot of raw donations. Like this is all someone's like donations, all from one person. I actually got some witchy stuff in here, which is kind of cool. At this point also, I have so much to go through that I'm definitely being a little more like particular. I'm not taking every single book at this point. There's really some good little spiritual type stuff in here, the like witchy type of stuff people like. Oh, this actually, I already know this sells. I've sold that on eBay before. That's pretty cool. So, that was that whole box worth there. Oh, there's another one. There's actually another box. So, that's exciting because this is the kind of stuff I have coming up. It's called like alternative health, and like it's just, I call it witchy, spiritual, occult, but it's like holistic stuff, like light therapy. There's actually a whole book, alternative therapies, and there's like all these different alternative therapies that aren't modern medicine. And that kind of stuff does well. So if you find that kind of stuff, you need to be looking for it. Got some media, not good media. Yeah, so there's going to be a whole, when I think about how much I've already gotten rid of, and I look at this, I think 2 Gaylords minimum. 2 Gaylords minimum of stuff that I'm just passing on. Which is okay. I'm not trying to pinch pennies. I'm trying to make money. And I don't have storage space, or else I would take a little bit more time and go through these. I wouldn't rush them. I would probably not even throw really much of anything out or leave behind, because I would have a way to offload this stuff. I would do the yard sale type things, like I said. And I would just put all of this stuff in a yard sale. I mean, this is wild. I have not consistently thrown this much in there yet. And so that's, oh, here's a good one. Holly Jolly Cowboy. It's got a little water damage, but that's okay. I like this raw donations though. I mean, like, you can't see, I just broke the bag, but there's like raw donations in here. They're not good. It's all like crap kids books, but there is raw donations in here. Who remembers Purple Moon? Rocket's World? Do you guys remember this? This is my childhood. I spent a lot of time playing Purple Moon. This one's dusty. There's definitely value in VHS. None of these are valuable. I mean, there's like floppy disks and stuff. This is just old crap. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is a good find. Look at this beautiful Winnie the Pooh. You can tell like a teacher donated some stuff here. We've got lots of kids books. We're definitely giving classroom quality, but these are actually very clean. Like crispy like new actually there. There's DVDs in here. I was not expecting that. So there might be a bunch of DVDs. So let's just like make a little stack here. A lot of DVDs. That's interesting. Dark romance, that's what we like to see. This is what I want a whole Gaylord full of. Give me all the dark romance. That's wishful thinking. It's never gonna happen, but if I could. Guys, I'm gonna have to bring y'all over here so you can kind of see what I'm looking like, what it looks like, because it's a lot of DVDs. All right, so you guys can see this is like a ton of DVDs all sprinkled in. But like I said, I mean, these raw donations, like bags and boxes, that's awesome. I love that. So, all right, I'm going to keep digging through. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the camera because I know this video is getting so long. I am standing in the last bin. I have my feet on the ground, which means we're almost done, which is awesome. But I just wanted to check in because I did find just a ton of Bibles. I've already pulled some out here. You guys can kind of see some of the different like Bible titles here, and they're all in really good condition. And then here's a ton more. So I was really frustrated because I ended up getting all of these like big Encyclopedia Britannica books, and they're friggin' heavy, and there's a ton of them. So I was like, dang, this had all these Britannica books. I had a ton of DVDs. Like, this was just not a good Gaylord. And then I got this. So between this and the box of spiritual stuff that I snagged, this is actually a pretty good Gaylord. So sometimes it's not about the quantity, it's the quality, right? So we've got a lot of crap, but some really good stuff in the crap. All right, last bit here, almost done. Okay. Wow. Wow. All right. So here's what we're working with. This is everything that I'm going to take back instead of doing something with it on my own. It's over a full Gaylord from just these two smaller Gaylords of books that I did not want. So imagine if I got just this from those two, imagine how much else I've already discarded. And this is the wall of kind of what is left for, like, I don't know what I want to do with it, right? Am I going to put it on Sell Back Your Book? Am I going to do a show? Am I going to do Second and Charles? I'm not sure. Over here, we've got books that need to be scanned. This is all mass markets. It's 2 rows deep of mass markets, as you can see. And then this is the stuff I still don't know what I want to do with. Oh my gosh, as I'm talking about the mass markets for the first time, they start to fall. Haven't fallen this entire time. I don't know what I want to do with this stuff. To be determined. I'll let you guys know what I end up deciding. But I'm going to go ahead and get the Gaylords and pallets back in here so that they are, it's done. I don't have to go back to that part of the, U-Haul again. Everything will be right here at the front for me to work with. All right, guys, we have officially hit the final stride, the last hurrah, the final mission. I don't know what you want to call it, but the last thing I need to do before I can return this U-Haul is I need to take all the rest of the books out. Now, this is not an easy task. There are hundreds and hundreds of books in these stacks here. I wouldn't be shocked if it was well over 500 or more books just on this side. So I need to take basically a library out of the back of this U-Haul and put it into the office. So I'm going to show you real quick what the space looks like that we're going to be working with. And I'm really hopeful that it's manageable, that I can stack everything up really nicely and just kind of store it in there. The original plan was that I was going to take one of the Gaylords and stick it in there. The original plan was I was going to take 2 Gaylords and stick it in there. But there's a lot of reasons why I decided against that. I'm definitely going to be doing a separate video that's just like a recap, what you need to know, what I learned, what I would never do again, how I would do things differently, what I would do the same, all that kind of stuff. But for today, let's go take a peek. Let's see what it's looking like, and fingers crossed that stacking the books is the better plan than Gaylords, because then I don't have to re-dig through them. It really doesn't take up as much space, and I could probably fit way more books stacked up than I can tossing them all in a Gaylord. All right, so this is our little path we're gonna be taking. I'm definitely gonna go ahead and pop this up and just leave that open. And as you guys know, we've been working with this space. Let's get this light on. All right, so we've got our crunchy books, we've got DVDs, we've got mystical stuff, vinyls, and eBay items. I'll probably have to move this mystical stuff because it is a little on the way. But what we're basically working with is this wall. You guys see my PC? It's so stinking cute. This wall here. So what my plan is I would say roughly the books that are in the U-Haul are probably about the length of this, maybe a little bit more. So what I'm thinking is, kind of using, probably, just leaving myself a walking lane, like maybe out to here even if I have to, just enough so that I can kind of walk through here, which is why I say I might move this, but basically just stacking them up. And I'm going to do it the best I can, the way that makes like the most sense, using hardcovers of larger size, hardcovers of medium size, and then smaller books. And then I also, of course, have the mass market. So this is what we're working with. Let's go ahead and get all that in. We have about 2 hours until my show, so I'm rushing, and there's a slight chance I might have to come back early in the morning before I drop the U-Haul off to finish the job, but I'm hoping we can get most of this done. I'm having a lot of second thoughts right now. And that, I can't wrap my head around the logic of that. No, we're going to scratch that. We're going to scratch that. See, this is what happens when you don't have a plan. I don't know what I'm going to do right now. I don't know. I've got to stop and think about what I'm doing when I'm done with my manic episode of what the hell am I doing right now? Because that's just how it feels. It feels purely manic right now. Feels so much better. Jeez, Louise. Oh. That was freeing. That felt so good. Whew. I needed that. I needed movement. I needed something to be different. And that is good. I don't need to worry about those books. Those books are not... They are not where it's at. I promise. I know these things. Whew. Oh, that made my heart so happy. Okay, so now I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to work my way through some of these larger books just to kind of try to get them out of the way. And I have yet to scan a single book that I've had in this whole entire Gaylord. So I'm ready to start scanning some books. Maybe that'll rejuvenate me. Seeing maybe a little bit of money right away coming in. So I'm gonna go wash my hands and then I'm gonna start scanning. Hi everyone, I am popping in after the show that I just did. I got extremely overwhelmed, and between the last clip that you saw and this moment, like 5 hours have passed. I had like a complete breakdown. I was extremely overwhelmed. I just felt very frustrated. I felt like I didn't have enough time. I was just getting very, very, very overwhelmed. So Justin actually ended up coming by and helping me finish kind of pulling out majority of those books. I don't know what it looks like. He said he got a ton out and there's still just some left, but he did a ton. I'm going to go ahead and show you what he showed me from inside the office, and then we'll go out and take a look at the U-Haul together because I actually don't even know what it looks like out there. But I also just wanted to check in with you guys on the show front. I just did a show. I'm going to show you kind of what sold so far. We did random pulls from the back of the U-Haul, as well as some of the stuff that I already put on the shelves that I knew were good quality books. And I just started everything at $1, and we ended up doing $421 in sales. I sold 135 items, and I did do a ton of giveaways. And so my shipping spend was about $30. And after fees, my estimated payout is $304. So I'm looking at that kind of like almost like a quarter of the Gaylord was purchased, a quarter of the total Gaylords were purchased. So it was about $1,200-ish. But again, I'm going to be going over the numbers here in just a bit at the end of the video. So stick around for that. I'm going to talk about how much everything all in cost me, and show you kind of everything that we're looking at, because the U-Haul will be gone and we'll be able to take full-blown stock and inventory of everything that we pulled from that U-Haul. So I'm really excited to show you guys that. But let's go ahead and go take a peek next door. Actually, let me show you what sold first real quick, and then we'll go next door. So this is what sold. We have all of this in this bin here. We have these, that, and these two piles here. So we have these two little piles, not all of that, and then all of those chapter books. So it was all chapter books, really good. And again, you can see here, about $421 in sales. All right, so here is what we are looking at. We have tons and tons of these chapter books to go through, all stacked up here. Absolutely insane. We also have a ton of the non-chapter books here, picture style books, all blended in here. And then this was one of the things I think I was the most excited about. Super cool. Justin went ahead and put all of these mass markets into this awesome like little nook. So that's perfect. I love that. That makes me so happy. All right, let's head on out and see what it's looking like in the U-Haul. All right, it is obviously very dark out here, so it's tough to see, but he went ahead and left all of these here. These are books that I've already kind of scanned in. These still need to be scanned. And then you have all of this in here that also just kind of like needs to be scanned in. So he did an excellent job. Super, super excited about this. So come in tomorrow. We'll get the rest of this out, last little bit, and we'll get this U-Haul returned. Hi everyone. It has been a crazy almost about 2 weeks since we purchased the bulk buy. I purchased those books back on April 24th. I unloaded them it took 2 days, the 24th and the 25th. And then now today is actually May 7th. So if you're watching this video, I am doing this recap just yesterday, and it is a up-to-date, as close as I can get it for you, recap of how everything went and all the meat and potatoes. I want to jump into how much did it cost for the books, the U-Haul, the gas. I had to pay for some help, of course. How much time did it take for me to go through everything? That was one of the biggest questions I got from last week's video, is how much time did it take? We're going to talk about the shows I've done so far, how much I've made back from this investment already just in these 2 weeks, where I'm selling all of these books, and if I would do this again. Let's go ahead and start off with how much did all of this cost? Because that, of course, is the big question. How much initial investment did I have to put out in order to get all of these books to start trying to make a profit on? So let's go ahead and break down the 4 main costs that came into account when I was purchasing these books. So first up, it's going to be for just the total cost of the 6 Gaylords that I purchased. Just straight up, what were the cost of the inventory and books? So the total after taxes was $1,223.50 just for the books. Then to get the books to my office, I had to rent a U-Haul, of course. And I rented a U-Haul about 1.5 miles down the road from the place I was buying the books. I then had to drive about 30 miles to my office. We obviously unloaded for about a day and a half, and then I had to drive 30 miles back to drop the U-Haul off. I had to drop off the pallets and the empty Gaylords as well. So that was the way I did it, and that's why I couldn't do a one-way, because I had to drop all of the pallets off as well. So I had to go back down there anyway. So it was about, I think my total was about 65-ish miles, and it was $1.09 per mile. So the cost of the U-Haul plus the mileage was $196.23. My gas was actually relatively low. I had to just fill it back up to the level that it was when I rented it, which was $21.16. And then of course I had my amazing helper, Justin, who I literally could not have done this entire job without. I would never do this by myself. This is something I would have at least one more person doing. Like I would minimum 2. If you could have 3 people, it would be incredibly fast and so much more efficient. But for Justin's help, for the day and a half or so that he helped me, I paid him $200 flat. That may seem low for the amount of work he did, but keep in mind, he is somebody who genuinely enjoys helping me out within my business. It is just something he does enjoy doing. So I paid him what I felt was fair. I didn't want to put out too much in the beginning, of course. So that was my initial payment. I think in the future, for the amount of work he did, I would probably pay him more. So if you are looking to hire somebody on this level of about 6 Gaylords, I would say closer to $300 or $400 would probably be more appropriate for the amount of help that I received. But that brings our grand total to $1,640.89. So all in, we are just under about $1,700, which is exactly what I thought it would be. I knew it was going to be between I said between $1,000 to $1,500 for just the book. So I was at 12, which was perfect. And then I knew that the U-Haul and of course everything else was going to probably be close to another $400 to $500. So I'm very happy with that number. Definitely right where I kind of expected and wanted to be. If you're interested just in the specific breakdown of how much I did pay per pound, why that total was about $1,200, I did end up paying 25 cents per pound. And I can't remember exactly what my poundage was, but I think we said it was like 4,600 pounds, right? So that's kind of how that mathed, and of course taxes. All right, let's get into the time it took just for us to get the U-Haul, load everything up, unload it out of the U-Haul, and return the U-Haul. I did the math and it came to about 21 and a half hours. So rounding up, we'll say 22 hours. That's not including lunch, breaks, sleeping, all that good stuff. This is just from the amount of time that it spent for us to physically be working towards acquiring the U-Haul, loading it up, unloading and sorting everything, and then returning the U-Haul back to everywhere it needed to go. So about 22 hours. Before I get into some of the show sales and things like that, I want to just address a couple of comments that I received over this week's video. And I, for one, have to say thank you guys. Y'all have made this past video my 4th highest viewed video on my channel, which is incredible. It's like an anniversary gift to me. I actually started publishing videos on YouTube about a year ago, exactly in April-ish. And it's just been so fun to have like a video go semi-viral for a small reseller on that kind of 1-year anniversary. So thank you so much. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. With that said, let's go ahead and just answer a couple questions. First up was, did you count the books? I got so many questions about you need to count your books. I understand the concept of counting books so I could know per book how much it is, but we are talking about like a penny. Every book is a minimum of a penny. So if I was counting the books to do the math of how much it was per book, we're talking about like 0.000001 cent for every book or something like that. I mean, it is pennies, like not multiple pennies, like a singular penny lower than that. Not a mathematician, but it's less than a penny per book, I promise you guys. So with that said, I did not count the books. I didn't find a need to. I don't care to know how many books I have. What I will say is I am counting how many books sell. So the amount of books I'm selling on Whatnot, selling to buyback services, Second and Charles, all that good stuff. I am counting that. So I kind of know roughly at the end of this, how many books did I actually make my way through? The number one comment that I got was, please don't throw away all those books. You should save them. They're great for crafting. People love to do junk journals with these. It was an overwhelming amount of people who had amazing comments about how much I could make off of those types of books. And a lot of the stuff that I just discarded as junk or things that I didn't want to deal with were very likely something that I could have made a little bit more money on. And I just didn't really think about that. Like, I'm an upcycler. I do upcycled bookmarks. I take damaged books and turn them into bookmarks. Like, I am huge on recycling. It's half of my business model is based on recycling. So I was just shocked I hadn't thought of that. And as you guys saw in the video, I redonated a ton of like the crafty nonfiction jacketless type books that don't really have a whole lot of innate value in themselves. Maybe somebody would be interested in them for crafting or collecting, but for me personally, it wasn't really going to be worth my time to go through those books and try to sell them. However, with all your comments, I hear you. It won't happen again. I will 1000% do that. I loved this comment. If I can find it, I'll put it here, which was sometimes not even the book is the value. It's the pages inside of the book, which if you ever open a cool book, sometimes you'll see like they have the really cool illustrations in there, or just font types or margins are set a certain way, or the pages have like a certain type of wear and aging on them. And so that was brilliant. Like just tearing out some of the cool pages and selling them as bundles of pages from books and stuff. So fascinated, absolutely fascinated. And I thank you guys so much for all of your comments about that. And I will definitely make sure to do that moving forward, and really maximizing my money. I will just also address this second point of throwing stuff away. The last few clips you saw where I was in that last Gaylord, I threw way more away than I probably should have. I was so over it at that point. It was very hot in the U-Haul. There's no breeze, you know, it's nice outside, but there's no breeze in there. So I think I was just getting a little overwhelmed. And obviously you saw the end of the clip where I had a full-blown panic attack. I was so like, obviously I didn't show it. Justin came and saved me. Get you guys a good partner, guys. That's all I can say, because he saved me. He literally was like, I can do it. I can pull everything. He's in the middle of working, mind you, like on a Friday, which is a big deal. And he's like, I got you. I'm just going to do it all. And I'm just like, are you sure? He's like, I could see on your face that you were absolutely done and you needed to get those books inside. And you were going to end up throwing away more because you were going to be so frustrated. So I really appreciated that executive decision on his end. But yes, next time, that is my number one lesson learned, is I will rent the U-Haul for probably an extra day and really take my time going through things and really making sure that I have that part, that kind of not so fun part of maximizing the profits and really using the inventory that I've purchased to make money and to get everything back into the world, which is my favorite thing to do. I will be doing that. So definitely kicked myself a little bit on that one, but I'm gonna do a better job next time. My favorite part, let's talk about the shows we've had, the sales we've had. What have we done so far? We've had 2 Whatnot shows selling just specifically the books from the Gaylord. I decided I did not want to mix and mingle those into my regular inventory. I am keeping them completely separate, and I'm doing something really fun that I never do. And I am doing shows once a week, every Thursday night, and I'm doing $1 start shows, which has been so much fun. I actually did my first $1 start show. You can see the recap there. It was so fun. Most books did not sell for $1. And so it was really, really fun. I really enjoyed that. And that is how I'm selling majority of the books that I'm getting from this haul, is directly on Whatnot with $1 start auctions every Thursday night. So which means if you are watching this, it is Thursday, and I'll be having an auction today. It should be in just a couple hours if you're watching this, 3 p.m. Eastern time on Whatnot. Definitely come and hang out and check everything out. Okay, so let's talk about the time spent doing the shows. How many, sales have we done? How many books have we moved? What are we looking at profit-wise so far? So like I said, I've done 2 shows so far, and in those 2 shows with the prep, the showtime, and the shipping for the show, I'm at 9.5 hours, which is not too shabby. Okay, so for our first show, I sold 123 individual books, and I brought in a sales total of $421. I did 29 giveaways, and I did do some stickers and bookmarks in those giveaways, which meant I spent approximately another $2 to $3 on like giveaway spend, which brings my net profit from the show after fees, shipping, coupon spend, everything. What came into my bank account was $302.18. So that was from our very first show. It was an awesome show. We had books that went for crazy amounts. And it was just a really, really great show. And it was really fast. We were only on for like 2.5 or 3 hours for that first show. Then our second show, again, I did a week later, $1 starts. We sold 104 items and did $230 in sales. I did a similar like 24 giveaways, lots of giveaways to make it fun, but I didn't use any of my own inventory or stickers and bookmarks. I just used items from the Gaylord, particularly like a lot of mass market books. So I am obviously counting those books like overall towards my total as giveaways. However, they are not books that I made a profit off of. And my total profit at the end of that show was $145.33. So in total profit, taken immediately from just Whatnot and put back into my wallet, was $447.51. So about almost $500, $450 or so, just from 2 Whatnot shows, not including anything else, just from Whatnot. So I am very happy with that, because if you have kind of see how I had all the books stacked up and you saw the shelves, like there are so many books, and we only sold 227 books, which is wild. And then another 53 giveaways, and I think about 8 or 9 of them were stickers and bookmarks. So we're looking at less than 45 individual book giveaways as well. So not too shabby. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the other places that I'm going to be selling these books. I had already done a couple of buybacks from Second and Charles. I've done 2 actually. So the first one was just a load of books that did not sell at the end of the first auction. I felt like if they didn't sell on Whatnot for $1, I'm not going to probably show them again and waste my time. I'm just going to pop them in a bag and take them directly to Second and Charles and see what they will give me. After that first show, the credit that I received from those books was $29.85. So not too bad. Then I went ahead and did our second show, and same deal. All the things that didn't sell afterwards, popped them into a bag, took them to Second and Charles. And for that bundle, they gave me $25.45, bringing my Second and Charles sell back total so far to $55.30. So very, very happy with those numbers so far. I do have an estimated because I've not processed any of the orders yet for the buyback programs like Sell Back Your Book, Books Run, Books to Cash, the 3 main ones that I use, is about $100. I think it's just a little under, between like $90-ish, but I don't have a firm total yet. But I have scanned a handful of books, and I know you guys haven't actually seen that yet. So I am going to have a few more videos in the series. I'm going to have one more video that's going to be like a full-blown like recap of all of this. It's not going to be out for a few weeks. It's going to be like probably when I break even will be when that video comes out. So once I find my break even number, I'll go ahead and publish a video. I'll show you how much is left and how we've already broken even. And then of course I'll do like a final recap, like probably a few months down the road when I have eBay items listed and everything kind of processed and actually out of my my store and sold, with a firm number of course, how much we actually ended up profiting, how much time I did end up spending in total doing all of this, and kind of see what that number looks like. But I do have some footage of me already using the sellback programs. I have me doing some screen recordings so you can kind of see what it looks like on that end. And I think that's probably going to be what next week's video is. It's just going to be a singular video about how I'm using the buyback services. So I'm going to show you guys how that works and show you that whole process in probably next week's video. So if you're interested in that, definitely look forward to that. I think that the buyback services are going to be one of the best places for me to recoup a lot of really quick instant cash. And when I say I've made $100 so far, we're talking about less than 50 bucks that I've scanned for that. All right, let's go ahead and start wrapping up here soon. I do want to tell you guys the types of shows I'm going to be doing now that I've sorted through everything. I obviously have our traditional Whatnot shows that we're going to do. $1 starts every Thursday. If you guys want to come check those out, I'll be live every Thursday. I'm going to be doing another $1 start show. It's going to be those crunchy books. And I think I will make well over, I think if I had to guesstimate, I'm just going to guesstimate, I think I'm going to make $700 to $800 on the Crunchy Book Show. That's my guesstimate. I may be wrong. We'll see. Mark my words. I'll clip this and put it in a future video. But I think I'm going to do really well on that. There were a lot of really good books in there, and some of them were like super crunchy, bent, damaged, ripped, torn. Again, crunchy means damaged, ripped, torn, waterlogged, something not good, very mediocre condition. And there were some good ones in there, so I think those are going to sell for way more than $1. When I did our last Crunchy show, I was blown away by how much people were paying for these very damaged books. So fingers crossed that works out really well. Then we're going to do an all mass market show. Don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but I have tons of mass markets that I think people would like. So we'll do an all mass market show. And then I did come across other media, the DVDs and the vinyl, maybe doing some DVDs and vinyl shows. Not 100% sure, but got to get rid of them somehow, and there's definitely value in those. Of course, I'm going to look at a lot of the vinyls for eBay. There were some really unique ones in there. I actually think I found a Care Bears vinyl, which was really, really cool. But yeah, so those are kind of the avenues outside of like eBay and stuff. This is just on Whatnot what I'm doing. As far as eBay goes, I obviously had all those books put to the side for eBay, so I'm going to be manually looking those up, seeing if there's value for eBay. If not, it'll go into a Whatnot show, and then of course, following the trajectory, go somewhere else if it doesn't sell on Whatnot. I've learned a lot and also been very validated in my expectations at the same time. As I mentioned, it was pretty much exactly the workload that I thought it was going to be. It was just as hard as I kind of expected, and that made me really happy. I felt very capable and confident that it was something that I could tackle with the help of my partner, and we did it, and it was actually really awesome, and there were no major hiccups other than like a mild breakdown at the end of 2 days of just strenuous work doing something for the very first time and trying my best to stay organized and navigate and be as like effective as possible. I am wildly and incredibly proud of myself, and I just think it's like testament to like, you can do this if you're at a point in your business. And keep in mind, I'm not new to this. I haven't been doing this for just a year or two. I also haven't been doing it for 10 years. I'm right in the middle of the sweet spot, about 5 years of reselling. I started right in 2020 during the COVID pandemic, and this is where I'm at now. It took me 5 years to get to this point. So if you feel like you're in a place to kind of bulk buy and you have a good opportunity come across you, go ahead and crunch the numbers. See if it's something that you're ready for. Maybe empower yourself a little bit more. Don't be delusional, of course. Have good self-awareness, but think about it. Like, it may not be as unattainable or as impossible as you think it is. So I'm really happy with how everything turned out. And the big question I wanted to ask myself at the end of this video and in just the end of this process is, would I do it again? And yes, I definitely would. Without a doubt, 100%. I want to get through everything that I already have now before I were to even think about buying more. And now that I kind of have some processes in place, I kind of know how I would do it next time and be more efficient and smarter with my time and space. I could very well see myself using that entire back room as like Gaylord unloading area. Of course, long-term future plans maybe, but I'm very happy with it, and I definitely will be doing it again. I think it's going to be really worth it, and I can't wait to share like the final numbers with you. I really can't wait to just share a couple week update, because I've already done this much in just 2 weeks. I can't imagine where we're going to be in 2 more weeks. So look forward to some updates. Maybe I'll publish some videos outside of our normal Thursday publishing schedule so that you guys can also stay up to date a little more real time, as opposed to having to wait weeks and weeks and sacrificing good like educational Whatnot videos. If this is your first time to my channel, I actually typically do a lot of educational stuff about Whatnot. I've been getting so many requests about shipping videos, and so many people still so hesitant to start because of shipping. I gotta make some shipping videos for you guys, because y'all, set it and forget it. It's so easy. So we're gonna be going over that soon too. All right, let's go ahead and wrap up this video. If y'all are watching all the way to the end, you are the real ones. Thank you so, so much for all your support. If you haven't already, please hit that thumbs up button. It really does help the YouTube algorithm, letting people know that this is a video you enjoyed. And it also helps me know that it's something you guys like. Leave a comment below if you haven't already. I will catch you guys next week on another video. Have a wonderful week until then. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.